Before we begin, if you believe some stories deserve to be told, hit like, comment below, and subscribe. This one might stay with you longer than you expect. It was a live broadcast. The lights were hot, the room filled with cameras and anticipation. On the panel sat Whoopi Goldberg, her signature glasses in place, smirking slightly. Across from her, Elon Musk, calm as ever, sipping water. Then came the jab. "So, Elon," Whoopi said, raising her eyebrows, "with all your success and rocket ships, do you ever spend time with your kids? Or are they just another project on your to-do list?" The audience chuckled, softly at first. Elon didn't flinch, but something in his eyes shifted. The cameras zoomed in. Silence expanded like a slow breath through the studio. He set his glass down carefully. "I'm used to being misunderstood," he said softly. "But leave my children out of it." Whoopi shrugged, trying to play it off. "I mean, come on. You've got, what, 10 kids now? Who can even keep track?" Some laughter again, but this time awkward, uncomfortable. Elon leaned forward. "Let me tell you about one of them," he said. "And maybe, after that, you won't be laughing." The panel froze. The audience leaned in. No one expected a story, especially not one that would quiet the entire room and echo far beyond it. Elon adjusted his mic. The lights seemed dimmer now, or maybe it was just the shift in energy. "2 years ago," he began, "one of my sons was in the hospital. High fever, trouble breathing. We didn't know what was happening." The studio, moments ago filled with chuckles, was now motionless. "I canceled meetings, launches, even a satellite review with NASA, because in that moment, none of it mattered." He paused, taking in the silence. He was hooked up to machines. He looked so small, so still. The camera cut to Whoopi, her smirk gone, replaced by a quiet furrow in her brow. "I sat by his bed for 72 hours straight. Didn't eat. Barely slept." Elon glanced toward the audience, not seeking attention, just trying to be heard. At 2 a.m. on the third night, he opened his eyes, looked right at me, and whispered, "You stayed." His voice cracked just slightly, enough to prove he wasn't reading from a PR script. "He thought I wouldn't, that I was too busy being made pits." Elon looked directly at Whoopi now, but there was no fire in his stare, only grief and clarity. "So no, I don't just track my kids. I show up for them, in ways the world doesn't always see." The air in the room had changed. Someone in the second row wiped a tear from their cheek. If this story moved you, even just a little, leave a comment. Let the algorithm know kindness still matters. The studio lights glinted off Elon's watch as he gently rested his hands on the table. "Months after he recovered," he continued, "my son entered his school's science fair." He smiled for the first time, but it was a quiet, fragile kind of smile. He didn't build a volcano, didn't do anything flashy, just a small prototype, something that could detect early respiratory issues in children. The crowd leaned in. He called it Project Stay. Elon's voice softened. His presentation wasn't perfect. He stumbled over his words. But when the judges asked why he chose that topic, he paused, swallowing hard. He said, "Because my dad stayed, and I want to help kids whose parents can't." The audience gasped softly. No script could write a moment like that. One of the camera operators wiped their eye and zoomed in. "I've built rockets," Elon said, "but that moment, That was the proudest launch of my life." A hush fell over the room. Even the panelists were silent now, their note cards resting useless in their laps. Whoopi looked down at her hands, her eyes no longer judgmental, just human. "We talk so much about legacy," Elon added, "but it's not always a company. Sometimes it's what our children build after we don't leave." A quiet moment passed. If you're still watching, maybe it's time to call someone you love, or comment with their name. Remind the world who you're showing up for. When the segment ended, the producers quickly cut to commercial. But the silence in the studio didn't lift with the music. Lights dimmed. Mics went cold. But the energy stayed heavy. Whoopi removed her earpiece slowly. She didn't speak. Elon reached for his tea, but didn't drink it. Across the panel, one of the younger hosts finally whispered, "I think that might be the realest thing we've ever aired." No one disagreed. A stagehand walked past, mouthing, "Wow." In the hallway, viewers on studio monitors had their eyes glued to the paused frame. Elon's eyes still wet, voice frozen mid-sentence. Whoopi stood up. She didn't storm off, didn't argue. She walked over to Elon quietly. I didn't expect that," she said. "You made me think of something I haven't in years." Elon gave a small nod. "That's all stories are meant to do." She looked away, blinking fast. "My father," she muttered. "He never came back after he left. Maybe that's why your answer hit so hard." Elon didn't respond. He didn't need to. It was the kind of silence that offered permission, not punishment. They didn't plan to upload it. But later that evening, one of the show's junior editors, moved by what she'd witnessed, clipped the segment and posted it quietly on the show's YouTube channel. No clickbait, no sensational title, just Elon Musk talks about his son. Within an hour, it hit 100,000 views. By midnight, it crossed 2 million. Not because it was dramatic, but because it was true. In homes across the country, parents watched it with tears. Sons texted their fathers, daughters called their moms. Some rewatched it 3, 4 times, just to feel something again. Stayed began trending on Twitter. Celebrities, authors, even quiet tech CEOs started reposting it with their own stories of showing up for loved ones. This hit me hard. He didn't defend himself. He defended fatherhood. Respect. By morning, the producers were flooded with emails, not from brands or news networks, but from viewers. "Please bring more of that. You reminded me of my dad, who passed last year." This changed my perspective. Even late-night hosts who'd once mocked Elon Musk played the clip and said nothing after. Sometimes silence is the loudest applause. Still watching? Drop A if this story touched something in you, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe. We've got more stories that remind you you're not alone. A week after the segment aired, Elon received a letter. Handwritten, no return address. Inside was a crayon drawing, a father holding a child's hand, standing beneath a rocket, and below it, just 5 words. "Thanks for staying like mine." He folded the paper gently and slid it into his pocket. That same night, he returned to The View, not for a segment, but to thank the crew privately. Whoopi was there. She stood quietly in the wings, no cameras, no spotlight. She approached him, no script in hand. "Do you think you would have become who you are if your father hadn't stayed?" she asked. Elon paused. The room, once filled with lights and chatter, seemed frozen in that one question. "Maybe not," he said, "but I think I became someone because My mom did. He smiled softly. She stayed, even when it was hard. That's where my real education began. Whoopi nodded, eyes glassy. No more jokes, no rehearsed comebacks. Just two humans sharing something unspoken. As Elon walked out of the studio, a producer called after him. "Mr. Musk, one last thing. Do you want us to take the video down? It's gone everywhere." He turned back, hands in his pockets. "No. Let people remember it. For once, it wasn't about me. It was about something we all forget. Showing up." If this story stayed with you, don't scroll without sharing a comment. Like, subscribe, and tell us, who are you showing up for?
If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share. Subscribe for more inspiring stories.